Denver is struggling to get people out of its homeless hotel shelters and into real housing. We'll talk with the experts who've been doing that work for years.
Finding people housing is the easy part. The tough part is actually keeping them housed.
State regulators shut down their investigation into Xcel's preemptive power shutdown. The Colorado GOP plays favorites in another Republican primary, endorsing their most extreme candidate yet. And a nonprofit providing a free place for families to stay when they're far from home for life-saving medical treatment. We'll support their work together, because why just watch when you can do something? Because this is next. Denver's audacious and unprecedented plan to end homelessness. It moved quickly, now slowly. The city got more than 1,000 people into temporary shelter within months, and they're just sitting there. Moving them into permanent housing was always going to be the hard part, and as our Mark Salinger reports, more are currently leaving the program to go back to the streets than into a home.
I always say finding people housing is the easy part. The tough part is actually keeping them housed.
In a city that's made it its mission to solve homelessness, housing is only the first step.
And we just expect, hey, get someone off the streets, put them in housing. The housing first model, that's all that we need. But there's so much more. The need is housing stability.
Brittany Catalinas knows that. She's been there.
I'm a person with lived experience myself. I've been homeless.
Now she runs Be Connected, working with landlords across the city to provide social services to vulnerable renters. Her goal is to use technology to avoid negative outcomes like evictions. She's teamed up with Councilmember Chantel Lewis to survey people living in homeless hotel shelters in Denver about what they need to succeed.
If we're looking at you as a holistic person, what do you need? Yeah, you need good housing, but you need to feel a sense of belonging. You need to feel safe. You need to feel clean. You need to feel fed.
Of the nearly 1,200 people who've moved into the city's hotel shelters so far, only 30 have found permanent housing through leased apartments of their own. Compare that to the 147 that left the shelters to go back to living on the streets. Outcomes like that are what Brittany hopes to improve.
We work with people who've been homeless into housing. We know that they may be struggling with misuse of substances. We know that they may have criminal backgrounds. Great, we can get them into housing. That's what this project is here. But why do they lose housing?
And so meeting people where they are and with their needs is really important.
Grace Birdwin is a developer and landlord. At her building in Ruby Hill, she knows a fridge and a microwave and a roof don't always bring peace or guarantee success.
And so I think when we remove the ability for our residents to determine what they view as success and what they view as valuable, then we automatically set ourselves up for failure.
Housing is a big step. Keeping people housed is just as important.
The survey they're hoping to implement at shelters around the city includes simple questions like, do you feel safe? Are you hungry? And even if you have pictures or art on your wall. They say the answers can reveal whether someone feels welcome in a community and what services they need to succeed. The changes from living on the street to moving into an apartment, Kyle, can be jarring.
And I think it's important that people recognize that this is work that's been done in the community for a long time, although the city's effort is certainly new.
Exactly.
It's good to have you back. I know you and your family have just seen a national outpouring of support following the passing of your dad, Rick, last week.
It's been tough, and words like you said on this show are so important in what's keeping us going throughout all this difficult time. And just want to extend a thank you to everybody who shared their memories of my dad. All those old videos of him have really put a smile on our faces. And I got to say, Kyle, I've known him as dad. I didn't realize the impact that he's had on this community for so long. But what I will most miss is that I won't get a text after this show saying, nice job.
He was here watching you every night because he was really proud of you. Thank you, Mark. Denver's streak of record-high eviction filings continued in the month of April, nearly 1,700 filings in just 1 month's time. Now, state legislators had hoped to slow that down by rushing $30 million worth of rental assistance out to programs last year. Applications for what is left of that money open up today. The state's been doling out that cash in temporary rental assistance grants each month this year, but the program was only approved to run through June. The final round of applications opened today, or available through the 19th. It's basically a lottery system. The state will randomly select from that pool of applicants, and those folks will then fill out a more extensive application. They're trying to give priority to people who already have a court summons for an eviction. Again, this is one rental assistance program that is ending. There are other state and local programs that will still be available. State regulators are done investigating Xcel's first purposeful power shutoff last month. And before they could come to any conclusions, it appears regulators had their power turned off. Our Marshall Zellinger explains.
After Xcel purposefully shut off power to more than 50,000 people last month during high winds, the Public Utilities Commission opened an investigation.
Our neighborhood never even appeared on the outage map.
They heard from the public. They heard from Xcel executives.
Earlier communication, more frequent communication.
They heard from emergency managers.
We were going to lose power to our emergency operations centers.
And they heard from businesses left in the dark.
Many members of our business community suffered economic hardship.
That feedback led to new questions from commissioners today. Could detailed maps be provided ahead of outages? Is there technology that can be used to re-energize power lines without utility workers having to visually inspect each one?
I think we received over 700 public comments within this proceeding.
Except today, the PUC took all that feedback and did nothing. They appeared to be stopped from discussing solutions by their attorney.
There's going to be a closely related proceeding filed soon that will give you the opportunity to delve deeper into these issues in a full adjudicatory capacity.
Xcel will file its new wildfire mitigation plan in a few weeks, and the commissioners were advised to not talk about solutions until that happens in a different proceeding, to the obvious annoyance of Commissioner Megan Gilman.
I wish they could hear him here today, but it doesn't sound like they can, so might be a surprise for them in the next proceeding.
Is that what you expected when the PUC said we're going to open an investigation into the power shutoffs for nothing to be concluded?
No, I'd like them to move quickly.
At a bill signing this afternoon, I talked with Democratic Governor Jared Polis about the PUC meeting. He brought up the letter he sent Xcel last month, sharing disappointment and frustration about the power shutoffs. That letter called for the PUC to adopt emergency rules, like ones that perhaps could have come today.
The wildfire mitigation plan is something that the PUC should, of course, do, but it's a much slower process. That, I understand, is a 6 to 12-month process before that's finalized. They should move forward around these planned outages as quickly as they possibly can to make sure they get some basic protection for consumers in place.
The reason I'm told this evening that the PUC is apparently stuck is because Xcel announced it would be submitting a wildfire mitigation plan, triggering a 30-day quiet period based on state statute where you can't really discuss issues before that plan comes out. So whatever solutions happen will have to be changed after the plan is introduced by Xcel, which, as you heard from the governor, is probably a months-long process before it gets approved.
I don't have a question, I just have a look. All of this is like, for people who are trying to follow this at home, you get this whiplash of just like, nothing to see here, okay, now there's an investigation, now we're back to kind of nothing to see here, at least for the time being.
I likened it to like a soccer game where it ends in a 1-1 tie. It's like, we want your feedback, we got your feedback, nothing. Mm-hmm. But it's coming, perhaps, but right now, nothing.
Did you know that a soccer game, Marshall, can end in a 0-0 tie, a 0-0 tie? Are you aware that that's legal?
I'm well aware of that.
Horrendous, but that's beside the point. Thank you, Marshall. The Colorado Republican Party is again wading into a contested GOP primary to endorse the most extreme candidate. This time, it's in the race on the Western Slope to replace Congresswoman Lauren Boebert as she switches districts. Former State Rep Ron Hanks is getting the GOP nomination over State Board of Ed member Stephen Varela and the establishment favorite, an attorney named Jeff Hurd. Hanks is a well-known election denier who pushed elections officials in Colorado not to certify our state election last year, not 2020, last year. Never offered any evidence of fraud. Hanks was present in Washington, D.C. on the day of the January 6th attack on the Capitol by supporters of then-President Trump. Hanks falsely claimed that Antifa was responsible for the January 6th insurrection, and he suggested that a foreign government could intervene to prevent Joe Biden from becoming president. The winner of that Republican primary in the 3rd District will face Democrat Adam Frisch. He has raised an enormous amount of money after nearly beating Boebert 2 years ago in what was thought to be, and is still by the numbers, a safe Republican district. Families come from across Colorado, across our region really, to hospitals in the Denver metro area for life-saving medical care, like organ transplants and cancer treatment. The kinds of challenges that, health stuff aside, can be financially devastating and really disruptive to family life if people are away from home for a long time for treatment. There's a place in town where their whole family can stay for free. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the nonprofit Brent's Place. Hospitals refer patients in need to Brent's Place. They can stay there with their families for as long as they need in what's called safe, clean housing. It is specially prepared and maintained for immunocompromised patients. It is quite literally a safe space for them. More than half the patients at Brent's Place are children receiving bone marrow transplants. They come there with their families. And for all their parents' worries, they at least don't have to stress out about where they're going to stay, what it will cost, and whether they will be physically safe there. Brent's Place takes care of that, plus their meals, plus fun outings for the whole family when the patient's health allows. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. You have proven that even $5 helps, so as always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. More than 2,500 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. Here's what that means. It means that we've started our recent micro-giving campaigns with almost $20,000 in donations each week. You use that same QR code or text to get there. Colorado's new plan to limit mountain lion hunting could get undone by voters in December. Remember what we did with wolves?
These guys all like skating handrails and gaps. They're kind of daredevils out here in the street.
It's X Games meets esports. Local skate shop is getting national recognition, not just for their tricks, but for their videography as well. Colorado Parks and Wildlife is preparing to make changes to its Front Range Mountain Lion Management Plan for the first time in a decade. They want to reduce the conflicts between people and mountain lions without reducing the animal population. The new management consolidates a hodgepodge of small area-specific plans into one master plan. It would introduce standardized caps on how many lions can be killed. The plan also extends the moratorium on the April hunting season for another 3 years. CPW canceled the April season after an unusually large number of mountain lion kills last year. The plan has to go through a 30-day public comment period before final vote. Voters could choose to tweak the whole arrangement regarding mountain lions in November. Animal rights advocates are gathering signatures for a ballot initiative to ban trophy hunting of big cats in Colorado. At some point, Lauren Robinson, we're going to get a checklist on the ballot. It's going to say, which animals do you want? Which animals do you not want? We're going to put up for a vote, and that's how our state's going to run. Nature be damned.
As long as it's straightforward and we can all tell.
Yeah, we can all agree and come together in the end, because don't you know that's what's going to happen? Yeah.
Right, that's always what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go ahead and take a look at our HD Doppler radar, where we have been seeing quite a bit of moisture push in from the southwest. We've also been seeing some very strong storms in Texas, Oklahoma, and even into Kansas. Now, portions of Colorado could see some severe weather. We did see a severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect in the southeast. That's been allowed to expire, but I do suspect as these storms continue to collide, we'll see more going into the next hour or so. We break this down into a couple of parts. North of I-70, we've seen some light spotty showers, a couple of lightning strikes, nothing severe, nothing major or even widespread expected here, while we've stayed pretty dry around the Denver metro area. To the south and specifically to the east of the I-25 corridors, where we are expecting the strongest storms today, and you can see these line of showers and storms where some of these storms could become severe, where we do have this marginal risk for severe weather across the southeastern corner of the state. What that means is if a severe storm pops up here, it's likely to drop large hail, 1 to 2 inches in diameter. We're looking for damaging winds gusting around 60 to 80 miles per hour, lots of heavy downpours, lightning, and thunder. Outside of that, everything clears out overnight tonight. We're going to see some mild lows, 40s and 50s across the Front Range and Eastern Plains, 30s in the high country, 40s and 50s out west. Tomorrow temperatures start to rebound. We're back in the middle 70s tomorrow in Denver. Most of the Front Range and Eastern Plains in the middle to upper 70s, where a couple of areas will stay a little cooler. 60s in the high country, very warm there, 70s out west. We continue to get warmer going into the weekend, 80s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're even staying in the 70s as we move through the rest of the work week. Mostly sunny and dry, but we're looking for a couple of slight chances for pop-up storms Saturday evening and then again Monday evening.
To compete against these 15 other shops, they're like the cream of the crop.
Well, they are too. A skate shop tries for a new X Games title. Next. Every good skateboarder knows it's not just about the tricks, it's about the edits. At least that's what the Gen Zers in the newsroom tell me. The X Games has launched a new online competition featuring skate shops and those video skills.
X Games reached out to us, letting us know about this new contest that they're throwing called X Games Showdown. They handpicked 16 different skate shops through the U.S., and we were honored to be one of those 16 skate shops to put together a 2-minute skateboard video edit. After everyone gets whittled down to the final two, the winning shop gets a 10 grand purse.
For me, I was hurt and it was snowing, so it's just like stressful. But we got it all done. It came together pretty good. We were able to go out of town, thank God, so we had time to actually film. For us, it's just rail skating, so just grinding rails, you know. And like, I don't know how to explain that over the news, because I mean, to a regular person, that's like, it's a different language, but yeah, that's like our type of skating.
So my job in this competition was to film all of our shop riders and make the best edit I could for the shop. You know, these guys all like skating handrails and gaps. They're kind of daredevils out here in the street, so I just want to make it look as good as possible and get the best stuff we can get.
The whole thing that comes with this shop is just all family.
And it's like the open door to like the industry, and they help us get connections that, like, you know, it'd be hard to make alone.
Keeping these doors open, you know, helps us support our passion of skateboarding and filming and hooking up these kids to push them to that next level.
The most Colorado thing we saw today is a soccer spectator getting involved in the game. It's that wild piece of video that came to us from an ex-viewer named Shira in Evergreen. So her kids are playing soccer in the backyard and they see this elk. So they shoot the ball up to the elk a couple of times, and the elk is like all about it, like clearly very interested in playing soccer, but unfamiliar with the rules of the game. Interestingly, still manages to get the ball back down to the kids so they can throw it back to the elk. Is this common elk behavior? I feel like if it was, we would see these videos all the time, and I've never seen an elk playing soccer. If you see something that says Colorado to you, email it to next@9news.com. Back with your feedback after this. The nonprofit Brent's Place offers a free place to stay for families who have come to the Denver metro area for extended medical care, like a cancer treatment or recovery from an organ or bone marrow transplant. The whole family can stay at Brent's Place for as long as they need. They offer so-called clean, safe facilities that are specifically designed for people with immune issues. To join me in supporting Brent's Place, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. Brent's Place handles one worry of families facing a lot of them at once. A text, Kyle can barely see you tonight. Your jacket matches the background. You need more contrast. This is called camo. A note from Michael for our Mark Salinger. He says, we were all sad to hear about the passing of your father and the 30 years that he devoted to the news in Denver. Welcome back, and know that your family will always be in our thoughts. And from Joe, who writes again to Mark, I know what it's like to lose those little things, like a text at the end of the show after the loss of a parent. So tell Mark after the show, good show. It's very kind of you, Joe. I appreciate that. We'll see you all next time.